Hey everybody, Dr. Wessel Couch here with another math and Minecraft episode. Today, I'm going to take you on a world tour. I'm going to show you the first 15 machines I made for the first 15 episodes, and also some machines that haven't made it into videos yet. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Alright, let's get started. So this might be a little bit of a longer video because I'm not going to edit it, I'm just going to show you what we got. Here was our first video. 1 plus 4 times the sum of the first n even integers is equal to 2n plus 1 squared. Remember how we did it? We had all the concrete powder kind of piled up in the center here, and then we let it fall, and we got a square. And if you go back and watch that video, and all the links to the videos will be in the description, you'll see there was nothing around us. It was just grass and maybe some cows and chickens. So that was a fun video, and it really showed that this math and Minecraft idea could really take on. So next, we could walk to this one or fly. We have a video that I really liked, but it didn't really get that much love from the community, and that's okay. It was the checkerboard logic puzzle. Is it possible to get from here to the cake square, landing on each square exactly once, and you can't go diagonal? And we showed that it's impossible. No matter how many times you try, you can't do it. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. And if you haven't watched that one, give it a try. And that's great for younger mathematicians as well. So if you're in middle school, or you have a cousin or a brother, sister that's in middle school, this could be a good video to show them because it doesn't take that much complicated math, but it's logic that we use to prove it. All right, so let me just show you this machine here. Well, not this target block thing. But what I have going here was an idea that failed, but I was trying to come up with a way to randomize numbers using sheep. And so like the sheep would be in this pen here, and then, let me show you. You take a cart and push it into the corner. It picks up a sheep and then shears it, and then it sends it back kind of into the pen. So it doesn't work perfectly. But that's the idea. I thought maybe I could generate random numbers using this, but haven't gotten it yet. So maybe in a future video you'll see some sort of random sheep thing. All right, so after the checkerboard puzzle was this video, this here. What was this? This was pi. Pi! My most popular video to date. What happened with pi? Well, we had zoglins and we had slimes. Oops. And so we had some slimes bouncing around, and then the zoglins would walk around and kill the slimes. This is called the Monte Carlo approximation for pi, by the way. So you could look that up. Basically what happened was if the zoglin killed the slime inside the blue, those slime balls got put into one place, and if it killed it inside the red area, put it in another place. And so the proportion of slime balls or slimes that would die in the blue should be about pi over 4. And so we had an approximation of pi. You can see it here. It was not that great. 3.28, I believe. All right, looks like the zoglin finished them off. But that was a fun video, and we're going to rematch pi again. Okay, 3.28, we can't live with that. I have a better method. We'll see in a later video. So here, just working through some geometry. It looks like it's the sum of the first n triangular numbers. There's a nice clean formula for that. I was trying to figure out how to make it a nice visualization. Haven't gotten it yet, so that's not going to happen anytime soon, but maybe one day. So what was next? Next was factoring in Minecraft. Here we had a machine that helped us visualize why n squared minus 1 is equal to n plus 1, which is the length here, times n minus 1, which is the width. And how did that work? Well, I had a hopper clock going, and it just activated a piston feed tape that pushed the glass up and into this row here. Okay, and the redstone was, this was really the first redstone machine I ever made. So yeah, the redstone wasn't very compact, but it worked. It worked, and that was a fun video. I posted that to the Educational GIFs subreddit, and it got a lot of upvotes on Reddit, so that was pretty neat. So next, we had square root of 2. Where we rode the strider. And remember how that worked was we would time how long it took for the strider to get to the end and back. And this here, this string, oops, fell in the fire, activated a T flip-flop. So this is a T flip-flop here. And now, if we look, warped fungus are going into the chest. And if we activate it again, it stopped the clock. So that's how my timer worked. So this is very simple. Sticky piston, observer, sticky piston, redstone block, hopper, and chest. So it's a very simple T flip-flop. And so this was a fun one. I mean, there's a lot of ways we could improve these experiments, right? If I made the lengths and hypotenuse longer, then we would have been more accurate. Also, striders are slower when they're out of lava. So I could have removed this lava and we would have had a slower walk, which would have led to a better approximation. But overall, it was a pretty neat experiment. But I encourage you to try recreating this one on your own if you want to see how good it could be. All right, after square root of 2, well, let me show you this here. There's a famous problem in mathematics called the Monte problem, where there's 3 doors, and behind one of the doors is, well, in Minecraft, it would be diamonds and netherite blocks. And behind the other 2 doors would be goats or sheep in Minecraft. And I wanted to come up with a way to make a video explaining this problem. And at the time, I didn't have an idea. I now have an idea of how to do this. So this will be a future video. It's not going to look like this, but this idea of the Monte problem in Minecraft will be a future video, and it's going to be awesome. So what's this? This was Pascal's triangle in Minecraft, which was my Christmas episode. So there was some Nutcracker music. And so remember what happened was we had a villager, and the villager's gone, but we had a villager, and he would land on a block, and then this the dropper would drop one of these blocks. And then the villager just randomly chose left or right. And I would cycle the villager through a bunch of times to keep track of the paths that the villager took, or the number of times it landed on each square. And then we scaled by an appropriate factor to give us a nice approximation of Pascal's triangle. So if you haven't seen that one, that's pretty neat. All right, so let's take a little break and look at some new machines that I have here. So this machine, obviously it's not done yet, but this, I'm trying to come up with a way to approximate, let's see what we have here. It looks like I'm trying to approximate, well, let's activate it and see what happens. Do I have a switch? See, sometimes you build these machines and you forget how to even activate them. Let's just do that. Okay, so what's happening here is we have a piston feed tape. It's cycling through. Yeah, so this is going to approximate 1/5, and over here it also approximates 1/5. So this machine will have a light turn on 1/25 of the time. All right, and it's pretty slow at this point, so we might not see it. So let me stop the machine again. Oops. Yeah, and then over here we have a machine that does like 1/49, and here is 1/9. So this is an idea for adding 1 over odds squared, and hopefully it's going to be a B-powered machine. So obviously this isn't done yet, but that's maybe a future episode. Here is another future episode, and I'm really excited about this one. So what do we have? We have just a bunch of mushroom blocks hanging out, and now if I hit this button, TNT drops, and the mushrooms go everywhere. And that's the whole machine. So we're going to use this. I'm not going to tell you what it's for. Leave a guess in the comments. What is this machine for? Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this one. And before we move on with our tour, here's another failed machine. It's a pumpkin farm that's, again, trying to approximate I guess this is 1/25. There's a bunch of pumpkins down here. So basically what happens is when a pumpkin grows, it automatically gets smashed by this pumpkin smasher. And then we keep track when this back corner one grows, a melon gets shot. So 1/25 of the total items are going to be melons. And so you can see here the melons, but all these other chests only have pumpkins. So this was a way to approximate 1/25 again, but I didn't love it. I liked the other machine better. Okay, moving on. So we just did Pascal's triangle. Next, we did the sum of the first n integers, which was this little guy over here. Well, I guess we can mention this. That's a 4-dimensional hypercube. So maybe we'll do a video on this at some point. I'm not sure what the video will cover, but we'll just talk about this 4-dimensional hypercube and some of the properties of it. Yeah, so this the sum of the first n integers, or n natural numbers, equals n times n plus 1 over 2. It was simple. It was just kind of like our first video we made. The concrete was piled up in the air, and then it fell and made this pattern. So nothing really special here, but it was neat. It's a good way to visualize it, right? Maybe some of you haven't even seen this visualization. You've only proved it with induction. So the visualization I like. All right, let's go on to the next machine, which was our approximation of the Euler-Mascheroni Constant. But let's just walk by. So here we have some bamboo and observers. This is not a machine that will ever be made into a video. I'll talk about a better version of it later. So here we have the Euler-Mascheroni Constant. So what happened here was we have a bunch of droppers that have a certain probability of dropping the sword. So here was 1/9 of a probability for dropping the sword. And so this firework would go off 1/9 of the time. And if it went off, it would hit this target block, which would put a redstone block in this chest using the dropper. Okay, so this one's really simple. And we could activate it if you wanted to watch just a little bit of it. So let's say we want, we'll have it go off 32 times. So you see, if there's still fireworks in these droppers or dispensers, there seems to be. This one on the right will go off every single time. The one next to it will go off 1/2 of the time, then 1/3, and so forth, all the way down to the line. This last one goes off 1/20th of the time. And we use that to approximate the Euler-Mascheroni constant, because the natural log of 20 is really close to 3, and this gave us a good approximation for the 20th partial sum of 1 over n. Okay, and we could just leave that. So what was next? Next was Fibonacci, which is over here. There's my blackboard that I've been using in some of my videos. So Fibonacci, counting chests. So it turns out that the number of ways to lay out a certain number of chests is counted by the Fibonacci numbers, which I thought was pretty neat. So next time you make a storage room in Minecraft, consider making it Fibonacci, using the Fibonacci pattern. Here, if you have room for 7, you could go up all the way up to here, which is 21. Yeah, so that was pretty neat. But there was no redstone in this one, so we could kind of talk about it briefly. Anything in these chests? No. All right. Straight ahead, this is a video I'll make in the future, so I'll just kind of show you what it is, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. So if anybody has any ideas of what this relates to, let me know in the comments. That'll be a fun one. Okay, what was after Fibonacci? After Fibonacci, well, we got to find it. Where is it? Oh, here it is, right next to it. After Fibonacci is the video I am most proud of. E, the E machine, approximating E in Minecraft. We were accurate to like 4 decimal places or something like that, and if we let the machine run longer, we would have gotten 6 decimal places. So how did this machine work? Well, we have 9 different colors of concrete in these hoppers, and they just cycle through the machine, but the machine is off. And the dropper will send them out in a random order. And then here I just kept track of checking if a certain color came out in a certain order. So the color green would correspond to the number 1. And this just checks, did green come out first? And if it did, it would be put in this chest here. And then similarly, did gray come out second and magenta third, brown fourth? These are all ors. And if any of those happened, then you could think of this as a permutation with a fixed point. And we saw in the video that the probability that a permutation has no fixed points is approximately 1 over e. And it's an alternating sum. The proof involves an alternating sum with n factorial in the denominator. So that converges really, really quickly, which is why our approximation was so good. Okay, and it would have been better if we had more time to run the machine. The issue with this machine is it's really slow. Again, I know how to make redstone machines. I just don't know how to make efficient redstone machines. So if there's any redstone nerds out there, a good challenge for you would be improve on this machine, make it faster. For instance, I think we could cut out these middle hoppers, tighten it up a bit, and maybe launch it on ice the whole time. There's a number of ways that this machine could be faster. So after E, and let me know in the comments if you have any fun memories from these machines or questions about the machines. I'm happy to answer them. After E was probably the video that you all saw first of mine, unless you're like one of my original viewers. So since this video here, my subscriber count is like over doubled. This was my collab with black pen, red pen. Here we approximated the natural log of 2. And so how did this work? Well, the machine is off right now. Oh, we could turn it on just so you could see. So how did this work? These snow golems threw snowballs at the zombies. And when the snowball hits the target block, because the snow golems miss quite a bit, I have a redstone machine that checks if both of these torches are off. And if that was the case, then a piece of wool was dropped into here. Okay, and so that happens, well, in this case here, both of these lights would be on. This one would be on 1/5 of the time. This is on 1/6 of the time. So if they're both on, that happens 1/30th of the time. And then so a wool block would go in here. Well, in that case, 1/30th of the time. This one was 1/2. The next one was 1/12, and so forth. So it was like 1 over n times n plus 1 for n equals 1, 3, 5, 7, so forth. And so we did the 10th partial sum for an expansion of the natural log of 2. Our approximation was not very good. It was an overestimate, even though all the terms in the partial sum are positive, so it should have been an underestimate. So there's definitely some flaws in the logic here, or in at least the outcome, but we were close, and it was a fun video. I'll turn that off to save the lag. I could show you if it's still here. I must have gotten rid of it. Originally I was trying to do this with minecarts, but the minecarts are just too inconsistent. Okay, next was the Pythagorean Theorem. So here I kind of worked out what I wanted the blocks to look like, and then I put it here. So there's a little behind the scenes for you. My redstone device actually just switched like blocks from down here to up here. It was not rearranging them. So if you could see that clearly here. So let's activate this. So how do we activate it? There's a piece of string here, an observer, so you just jump. And so what's happening is I just made a gigantic redstone door that's like 13 by 28 or something like that. And you could see, so the original blocks are up here, the new ones are here. Okay, and so if you want to see what the redstone door looks like, it's just your standard slime block and honey block redstone door. I just followed a mumbo jumbo tutorial. For whatever reason, he didn't have the Pythagorean Theorem involved with it, which was a little bit strange. He must have just forgotten that part. But yeah, he made it's a tileable. You can make this door as big as you want. And I made mine 13 by 28 or something ridiculous like that. Okay. So after Pythagorean Theorem, I made the square root of 3 video, which we'll have to find. That's the thing with this world. I guess we'll do a little bit of a detour. All right, there it is on the left. Quick little detour. Here's two machines that will be in videos, hopefully in the next month or so. I'm not going to tell you what they are. You're going to have to guess. So this one, it's again the observers looking at the bamboo. There's 3 bamboo, and then there's this device here. And I'll even give you a little bit more of a spoiler. Shulker boxes go in here. Okay, so shulker boxes go in, they kind of get filled up, and then they get spat out, and they would look something like this. Okay, so this is what the outcome is. I've already run the machine. I just haven't had the right opportunity to publish the video yet. I want to make it a real special video. Yeah, so this is another number approximation. So give me a guess in the comments. What am I approximating with this machine? That there, we're not going to talk about. That we're going to see next Sunday. And I'm so excited for it. It's going to be one of the best videos I make. Here is another number approximating machine. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is, but basically what happens is items are going to cycle through. A copy of those items gets sent over through the water into this loop. They cycle through, they get sent back into this loop, and they go back and forth. Each time there's going to be some probability that a chicken gets spawned, and then the proportion of chickens, I haven't built the second tank yet, the proportion of chicken eggs in these 2 tanks will help approximate some number. What number is that? You'll have to guess. All right, so we'll talk about this machine in a little bit, but after Pythagorean Theorem was the square root of 3 video. So here I used tridents and ender pearls to approximate the square root of 3. I thought it was fun to have villagers here. It was like an audience. I don't know. So you could see this is where I landed with the trident. This is where I landed with the ender pearl. And then, I don't know if you knew this, but if you combine a trident and an ender pearl, you get launched. And way out here. So if I ever give a world tour, you could see this. I mean, a world download, you could see this. I put a sign. Square root of 3 prediction. It's all the way out here. You could get lost if you're not careful. So that was a pretty good prediction. We were off by like under 1%. And then the next video I made was a visualization. Again, many people haven't watched this one yet, so this is a good one to go back and watch if you haven't yet. A visualization that the sum of the first n plus 1 choose 2 odd numbers is equal to the sum of the first n cubes. So here we have 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, all the way through. How do I know there's n plus 1 choose 2 odds? Well, look at, there's 1 odd here, the next 2, the next 3, the next 4, all the way up to the next n odds. So that's the sum of the first n integers worth of odds. It's n plus 1 choose 2 odd numbers. They're all lined up here, and so what I did was I built flying machines to come and push the concrete down. So I had to reset it for some screenshots so we could activate this again, and this is what it looks like without the dramatic music. I'll get it nice and close so you can see what happens. The flying machines come and they grab the concrete powder and just pull it forward using either slime or honey. So you can see it just rearranges these. Instead of the odd numbers, it's now into perfect cubes. So the sum of the first n plus 1 choose 2 odd numbers is the same as the sum of the first n cubes. Oops, getting bumped by that guy. Which I thought this was a really neat proof. The thumbnail must not have been up to the level to get YouTube to push it. But yeah, so if you haven't watched this video yet, give it a try, because I really liked it. You just kind of saw how it ends. All right, and then my most recent video, which is where we'll end the tour, is the derivatives using calculus. I mean, derivatives using Minecrafts. So here we had no redstone in this one, just x by x by x cubed, so that had a volume of x to the third, and then we just went through what the limit definition of the derivative is. So we added a little bit. So this is f of x plus h to the third. And then we subtracted off f of x, and then to evaluate the limit as h goes to 0, you just look at the inside. You have 1, 2, 3 x squares. And that's the derivative of x to the third. So yeah, that's my world so far. 15 episodes in, or something like that. 15 episodes in, and the world's getting pretty big. So if you haven't watched all the episodes, go back and watch them, and let me know in the comments what else you want to see. There's still a few constants, like the golden ratio, for instance, that we're going to do. Don't worry. Everybody says, Dr. Wesselcouch, you got to do the golden ratio. It's on my list. Don't worry. But yeah, let me know if there's any other ones you want to see, any other types of topics. And if you like this world tour, great, we'll do another one, maybe 15, 20 episodes from now. Hopefully the world keeps growing. Well, thanks for watching. If you made it to the end, let me know in the comments. You're a true supporter, and I really, really appreciate it. The support I've been getting on this channel is just unbelievable. I can't believe, I mean, a year ago I had like 100 subscribers, and now I'm coming up on 4,000, which is just unbelievable. So thanks for the support. Thanks for watching, and yeah, let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts. Yeah, and here's to the next 15 episodes. All right, bye-bye.